Welcome back to the Crochet Creator's House, my friends at yarnspirations.com. A pattern by Sarah Zimmerman with the Crochet Ollie Trio. What we have here is an owl that was amazing, and I've actually given away 2 of these already to people that were having new babies as like a baby shower gift or, you know, welcome to the family. And these take about 2 hours to make from start to finish if you were not following my tutorial and you were just following the instructions along. So if you're an experienced crocheter, these things are about a 2-hour project. You are going to need safety eyes. I'm using a different set of eyes than what she's recommending because this is what I have, and these are relatively large. Somebody is going to ask me how big those things are, and I'm going to say, I don't know. So let's just do that right now. They are approximately about 0.75. So what is that, 0.75 of an inch? Okay, 3/4 of an inch. And so the safety eyes have a backing on it so that it clicks on. So once it's onto the project, it'll click into position so that it will never come out on you. So if you are looking for this kind of concept, this is a great way that is a safety product. So if you're looking for that online, it's called Safety Eyes. You also need some polyfill today, and the whole tutorial will be here in this video. If you would like to skip any of the steps, use the video chapters in the video description. There's also a link to the free pattern just in case you don't need my help. Let's get started right away using a 6.5mm size K crochet hook, and we are going to be using Bernat blanket today. This was originally done with Bernat blanket Ogo, which was just a style of wrapping. So I'm just using some spare Bernat blanket that I have here. Blanket Groomy is actually a thing, and we're going to begin right now. One more thing I should tell you is that all 3 of these samples can be done with the same colors, so you'll notice that the yellow is the same. And so when she designed this with Bernat Blanket Ogo, they were 3 colors equally divided. And so if you have a full ball of each one of these colors, you can make 3 little ollies. To prepare, you'll also need a spare piece of yarn or a stitch marker. We're not going to do the join as she's stating to do, so we don't end up with a slip stitch in the middle of your ollie. And we're going to do a continuous round, and that will be our first step. So we're going to begin at the bottom of the body and work our way. The head is the second part of this main structure. So whatever you decide the main body, look at the photo and you'll see that. We're going to start off with the magic circle, or a magic ring, it's called, or a magic loop. To do that, you are just going to put the yarn in front of your hands like this and use 2 fingers. You're going to wrap the yarn around your 2 fingers, and when you come over top, you're going to cross over like this. Okay, so 2 fingers, it has to come in front, and take the yarn leading to the yarn ball, go over top of your fingers and cross over. We're then going to take your 6.5mm size K crochet hook under the first loop here, and you're going to grab the other one that's crossing, and you're going to pull on it. And you can now just securely remove your fingers out. And when you go to crochet over top of this loop, you need to go over top of the 2 strands at the same time so that you can close it. This will be the only time I'm going to show the magic loop today. I'm just going to tell you to do it in the future. So we're going to then just chain 1 to lock it, okay? And we're going to begin our first round, and we're going to do 10 single crochets into the round. So let's count those out together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now I told you we're not going to do any joining. So I want you on the 10th one to grab that spare piece of yarn and go up underneath that last stitch you just did and pull that yarn through. And this will indicate that you're on the last stitch of a round. So now we have to pull that center shut. So turn it to the back side of your work. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just grab onto the strand and just pull on it. When you pull, don't be too rough on it because it will snap, because it's just a core. Okay, and pull till you can't pull any longer. You're going to take the strand. If you just cut it down, it'll fall out, so you have to make sure that you put it through a tapestry needle and just follow the direction from which so you're coming out of here, so just continue to go in this direction around. So I'm staying on the back side, so I'm not going to interfere with the front, and I'm going to pull through. That's going to help close it, and then you got to secure it 2 more times. So through a different path, if you go through the same path, it'll pop out. So different path, and 1 more. Okay. Once you got that done, you could just take your scissors and cut. This will be on the inside of your owl anyway. And you are going to put your hook back on and pull it back shut, and we're going to begin round number 2. So it's going to get really simple for this part, and we're just going to keep our list close and check it off as we go. Now on camera it may be difficult to see the stitches, but there are 10 stitches here. So if you're not sure which one to start with, when you come over here, you just count to the 10th one back. So starting the first one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Even as an experienced crocheter, I will always count back. And so you're going to use the 10th one away to begin. And then each one of the stitches is going to get 2 single crochet. And so on the first round now that I'm doing, I'm going to physically count it. So this was 2 into the 1. So I would have said in my brain 1, 1, and then I come into my next stitch. And the first one is always a little bit harder because it's tight. And I'll say 2, 2. If you need stitch counts, they're available on the pattern. And then I got 3, 3. And next one, 4, 4. Next one, 5, 5. Next one, 6, 6. Next one, 7, 7. Next one, 8, 8. Next one, 9, 9. And the last one, to see how it's marked, is 10 and 10. So I do that on my first round to make sure my multiple is right. And then after the end of each round, I want to move that stitch marker up. So under the last stitch, pull through and through. Okay, so I'm gonna have you move that stitch marker on your own. So I'll give you the instruction, you do it, and then we come back and we'll be ready to reset for the next round. This was round number 2. Let's move on to round number 3. So if you're following this tutorial, you don't have to chain 1 when you start a round, you just immediately start in the next stitch. The repeat pattern for round number 3 is that the first one will have 2 single crochets in it. And then the next one has 1. And that'll be your repeat all the way around for round number 3. So the next one has 2. And then the next one has 1. Please repeat that sequence going all the way around for round number 3. Round number 4 is just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Do that, move up your stitch marker, and I'll see you on round number 5 in a moment. Round number 5 is a growth round, so we're going to make it a little bit bigger again. And so the sequence is 2 into the next stitch, and then the next 2 are by themselves. So 1 and 1. So what I do in my brain is that I know the sequence is 2 into the next stitch and 1 and 1. So I say to myself 2 and 2, and then 1 moving on, and then 1 moving on. So that's what I say in my head to keep myself straight. So 2 into the next, and then the next 2 are by themselves. Please do this around for round number 5. Rounds number 6 through 12 are going to be just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. That's a total count of 7 rounds. So by just going 1 single crochet in each, it's going to start bowling up and you'll see the formation of the owl. So please do rounds number 6 through 12, and I'll kick you off on round number 13 in just a moment. I'm at the end of number 12. So now we're going to start doing a reduction, and what I want to show you that is never usually set in patterns, but what happens is that when we go to do a decrease, we use both of the loops, and this creates an obvious line of the reduction when it happens. So a friend taught me years ago that if I just use the front loop of the 1, circle around and grab the front loop of the next and just use those two as a two together instead of a full stitch, you end up with a seamless looking decrease. And that's what we're going to be doing in any decreasing that we'll be doing on this particular project. It requires a bit of practice, but once you get used to it, it's actually really cool, and therefore you don't get this really ugly line when you're doing a reduction. So let's move on to round number 13. Round number 13, we're going to put the first two together, so we're not going to use the full 2 stitches, we're just going to use the front loops only. So coming up, just scoop up the front loop of the first one, rotate the hook and capture the front loop of the next. Yarn over, pull through, and then pull through 2. And so that just made 2 stitches into 1. You see how flat that looks? It's great. So the next 2 are 1 single crochet by itself. So you don't even see that reduction. So we do it again. So the sequence is you put the next 2 together, so 2 together, grab the front loop of the one, circle, grab the front loop of the other, pull through 2, and then the next 2 are by themselves. Please do the same sequence going all the way around for lucky round number 13. Round number 14, same as number 4, it's just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. Please do this. I'll see you at the end of number 14 in a moment. Round number 15, we're going to put the first 2 together. So do that special technique. Once you learn that, I don't think you'll ever unlearn that. So put the first 2 together and then 1 single crochet by itself. So the sequence is 2 together, and then 1 by itself. Please do this around for round number 15. Round number 16, we're going to stuff the body at the end of this round. So you're just going to apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. I'll see you at the end of this particular round because we're going to end this color. This is the main body. We're going to switch our color to the head with whatever you decided for that. At the end of this round, I'm coming around, but the last stitch I don't want to put in a single crochet. I just want to do a slip stitch. It will still count as a stitch, but it will make it more flat, and therefore this color will be done. So I'm going to just trim this color out and pull, and I'll let it tighten onto itself. Okay, and if you want to use a tapestry needle to weave that back and forth, move that stitch marker up to that slip stitch line so that you'll see it into the next round. And we're going to take our tapestry needle and just weave in this just a little bit just so it gets stuck. The cat box is turning over, just so if you wonder what that sound is, not that you care. Cats are full of shit, you know. So anyway, we're just gonna weave this in on the inside of your owl. Don't interfere with the top of the stitch. And just kind of pull through. Just back and forth, so that it's always wanted to go back and forth 3 times. So blanket groomy, like this kind of thing, is actually a really big deal. You'll see a lot of craft shows and stuff. So these, I know a personal friend that's done hundreds of these things, this particular pattern too. So what we want to do is grab our stuffing and start stuffing the body, and we're going to carry on for that next. So just stuff it nice and firm, but don't be too crazy about it either. So if you start seeing the stuffing coming between the stitches, you need to pull back a little bit. Okay, zooming you out a little bit, I'm going to be using light teal as my head color. I really don't have a sense of coloring in my head. It's not something I got when I came out of the closet. Usually guys like to drink wine and be a decorator. It took me 20 years to like wine, and decoration still not my thing. So I'm going to go right into the one that has the stitch marker. Okay, and we're going to join this color. So just join it with a slip stitch. Okay, and then we're going to start round number 17. So let's begin, and we're going to get ourselves bigger once again. So to do that, starting in the next stitch right down here, there's going to be 2 single crochet into each one of those stitches all the way around. So we are currently at 20 stitches in the last round, and by putting 2 into each, I'm going to just toss this to the inside, get it out of the way. By doing 2 into each, you end up getting 40 stitches around, so it'll bulge it right back out. So let's do this. So 2 into each of the stitches all the way around. I'll see you at the end of the round. So I've come all the way back around. This is where I started. So I'm on the last stitch before I hit that. I'm going to move up my stitch marker to that last one here. And I confirm that I have 40 stitches again. Number 18 to 23 is just one single crochet in each one of the rounds. It's a total of 6 rounds that you'll be doing. Just check it off your list as you hit each one of those rounds and just continue to do this all the way around. So it's one single crochet in each, and I'll be right back at the end of number 23. Okay, round number 24, we're gonna do one reduction round here, and we just have actually 2 rounds left, 24 and 25, but we'll do the first one first. And the first one is 2 together. So I'm using my technique of putting the first 2 together, and then 2 by itself. So 1 and 2. Okay, so then, okay, so 2 together, and then 1 by itself 2 times. Please do this all the way around for round number 24. Okay, last round number 25 is just one single crochet in each, and I'll be right back in a moment. This will be the last part of this main body. Okay, this is it. Go right to your last one. Just on the last stitch, just make it a slip stitch and it will look better. So I'm going to cut this strand so it's a little bit longer because we need to stuff this head and use that strand to be able to close it at the top. So I'm going to pull this out. We're going to pull the stitch marker out, and we're going to stuff the head, and the head should be almost like a flat shape when we go to stuff it, so it won't be a round ball like that, because we're just going to sew across the top here to close. So stuff your head, and I'll be right back. With the tapestry needle, you're going to pull that through, and you want to close down the top. Okay, so you're just going to close it flat, and you were going to whip stitch across. Now when you whip stitch across, I want you to just whip stitch on the back loop only and go straight across like that. So get the next one, the back loop only. Make sure your stuffing is completely done as well, so you won't be able to add any more stuffing at this point. So stuffing does tend to relax a bit, so if you overstuff it too tight, sometimes it can grow within the project as well, so just be careful with that. So continue to whip stitch on the back loops only all the way across. Okay, once you're all the way across, you're just going to get this stuck, so tie it into a knot like that, and then go right in and pull it into the project, and just pop out somewhere along the top on the other side. And this is going to take that yarn strand all the way across on the inside and pull it nice and shut. And you'll notice that it will naturally create wings, or sorry, like points, like ears for your owl. So once it's coming out, if you want to go back in, I'm just going to go back in one more time, because if I gift this out, I don't want this falling out on a baby. Okay, so I'm getting it stuck into the stitch work, trim, and then I have my main body right here. So almost looks like a cat at this point. So we're now going to continue along and move along to the next part, which will be the eyes. So let's create a pair of eyes. It's just consisting of 2 rounds. Starts with the magic loop or magic circle, and then we put 10 into that circle and then 2 into each, so you get 20 stitches all the way around. I'll show you some techniques, and then after both are done, we're going to apply our safety eyes into position at that time. You'll need to do it before you put it onto your character anyway. Let's begin to do the eyes. So we're going to create our magic loop like we did before. I've already gone through how to do it at the beginning of today's tutorial. Just takes a few seconds, lock it, and then we're going to put 10 into the ring. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Pull up a loop, pull the yarn strand, put this onto a tapestry needle. Seems when I'm off camera I can do that in 2 seconds. Okay, and then go in the direction to continue in the same round. And usually on the first pull, it's gonna pull it back completely in. And then weave it back and forth 2 more times. Okay, so now we're going to continue then, move it back up, and I'm not going to put a stitch marker in there because I can count it because it's just one round that we have to do, and we'll move on to round number 2. Number 2, we're going to go the 10th one away, so if you don't know where it is, just count it back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So even as an experienced crocheter, I will do that. So you're going to put 2 into each, and like I did before, so I did 1 and 1, next stitch, 2 and 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. This happens to be the last one, and 10, and 10. So what I'm going to do is just slip stitch to the first one, and therefore that is my center. And then I'm gonna trim an extra long tail that we will use to sew it to the character. So now what we need to do is position our safety eyes. So just pull this up, and let's get both of our eyes together. And usually what I do is I kind of put the strands so they're kind of similar to each other. So I kind of look at it from this perspective. Maybe I'll do the strands going down. So Sarah, the way that she does it, she overlaps her eyes just a little bit. If you would like to do that, it's up to you. So let's put in our safety eyes next. So with the Muppets were always cross-eyed, and the reason for that is that when they had puppets way back in the day, is that the puppets, when they were just straight into the middle, they looked like they'd been hit by a car. So by crossing the eyes just slightly, what happens is that you give the puppet a focal point. So your trick is to make sure that you keep enough consistency of the white between the eyes, and you can obviously rotate these at this time, but you just want to be pretty consistent with the positioning of how much white is left over. And usually what you can do too is that you can sew the eyes together like this as well when you go to put it onto your creature. If you want the creature to maybe look in a different direction, then you could just do that, and so therefore it'll be looking to the side and etc. So you have to decide what you're going to do, and we put these on here. So I'm going to say I'm good with that. You're going to take the back. These are really tough to put on. If they were too easy, then they would not be called safety eyes. And so you're going to push it. It's like a cup formation, and you're going to push it onto the eye. Okay. These are permanent, so if you are making a mistake, you'll be crocheting yourself a new eye and getting another safety eye. Okay, and therefore you have your eyes all done, just like that. So we're gonna put these aside, and we're gonna move on to the beak. Okay, let's start with our beak, and our beak is just going to do whatever color that you want to do. I'm gonna match it to my body, and I am going to chain a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to begin the first row. First row, second chain from the hook, so 1 and 2. Get the back hump of the chain if you want to, or just use the regular chain. And you were going to single crochet yourself, going a second chain for the hook and 1 in each of the next 2. So you're going to single crochet yourself back across your chain. So there's only 3 stitches total. Okay, turn your work. Let's do row number 2. Row number 2, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to put all 3 together. So 3 together, single crochet. So grab the first one, go into the next one, grab it and pull through, and get the third one away. Grab it, pull through. You should have 4 loops on the hook. Pull through all 4. Turn your work. Last row, number 3, chain 1 and 1 single crochet in the top of that. Single crochet 3 together. So now you have the beak, and what we're going to do is just keep one of the tails. I'll just keep this one. It's way too long, but that's fine. And I'm going to keep that aside. So just pull it through. And the other one of the starting, I'm going to take my tapestry needle and I'm going to get rid of that immediately. So it's out of the way. So the beak just takes a few seconds, really. When I say a couple, maybe a couple minutes. 120 seconds, there you go. So when you pull through, don't change the shape of it. And just lock it into position. So just weave it through, and then we'll use this longer tail to sew it to the owl later. So you kind of got a beak that faces down. Let's move on to the wings. We're now going to start the wing. You'll need 2 of these. This right at the very beginning is really tough to do, so if you're successful, just leave me a comment here. There's a lot going on here, and because of my hands and the lack of use, I find it really quite difficult. So let me know how you're doing with this section here by leaving a comment. So let's begin to do the wings. There's a total of 10 rounds, starting at the very top here and working our way, and then this will be where it will attach to the shoulder. We're not going to stuff this at the end, but just merely sew it onto the character. So let's begin. Do your magic circle or magic loop. And this one's going to be relatively tight, so once you chain 1 to lock, you're only going to put in 4 single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull up a loop, place in a stitch marker so you can see it. So we're going to do a continuous rounds on this as well. I have a real problem with the amigurumi showing slip stitches. It just bothers me so much. So I'm going to then pull onto the strand to tighten that up, and then turn it over to the back side and secure that. Continue in the same direction that you're going in. I have people that are on our channel that never bothered to weave in their ends when it comes to these magic circles, and then they pop out, and especially if it's a blanket, and it eventually, the whole blanket then eventually falls apart. Not great. So we're going to just trim and then turn it back. Put your hook back in and tighten. So there's only 4 stitches all the way around this thing, and it's going to be kind of difficult to do the first few rounds. So let's do that next. So the wing is not just a round circle, it's an oval shape, and so you'll see the consistency with that. So you want to go 4th one away. So if you count back 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's where you're going to start. And so the first one will get 2 single crochets into it. So 1 and 2, and then the next one is going to have 1 by itself. The shape is not going to be so obvious right out the hop. So the next one is going to have 2 into the next one, and then your very last stitch, which the stitch marker is in, is just 1 on its own. Pull your stitch marker into position, and then we'll move on to round number 3. Round number 3, starting in the next one, you're going to apply 2 single crochets into it, 1 and 2, and then it's going to be 1 single crochet into the next 2 in a row. So just kind of pulling it apart just in case you don't see it. So 1 and 2 by itself. Okay, the next one is going to, see how I'm popping it towards me, so it's going to grow it down. It's going to be easier for you to access the stitches as well. The next one's going to have 2 into the same one. And then the last 2 will be on their own. Okay, move up your stitch marker. And let's move on to round number 4. From here it should get easier. So the first one out right here is going to have 2 single crochets into it. So 1 and 2, and then the next 3 are by themselves. 1, 2, and 3. So the next one is going to have 2 into the same one, 1 and 2, and then the last 3 are 1 by itself. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, move up your stitch marker. Let's move on to round number 5. Okay, round number 5, you're going to apply 2 into the first one, 1 and 2, and then the next 4 by themselves. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, the next one is going to have 2 into the same one, so 1 and 2, and then the last 4 by themselves. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is in the last one. Move the stitch marker up. And let's move on to round number 6. Number 6, 2 into the first. Okay, and then the next 5 are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the next one has 2 in it, so put 2 into the same, and then the last 5 are by themselves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Move the stitch marker up. Let's move on to round number 7. Round 7, 2 into the first, and then the next 6 are by itself. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2 into the next one, and then the last 6 are by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Move your stitch marker up and ready for round number 8 next. Round number 8, 2 into the first, and the next 7 are by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 2 into the next one, 1 and 2, and then the last 7 are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Stitch marker up, and let's do number 9. Number 9 is just a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. Please go all the way around for round number 9. Let's begin round number 10. This is your final round. Starting by putting the first 2 together. Do the same technique as I showed you before. 2 together. And then we have 1 single crochet into the next 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then put the next 2 together. And then the next 4 by itself. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the next 2 together. And then the last 4 are by itself. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is not in the pattern, but just slip stitch to the next one and then you got that done. So just cut an extra long tail so you can use that to sew it to the character next. So we'll be moving on to doing the feet in this pattern next. So your last piece of the day will be the feet. So the feet is just a round circle folded in half and then sewed, but as we sew, we just want to dig in a little bit to create the indentations that you'll see. And we'll cover on how to put this onto the character later. So let's begin to do the feet. So you'll need 2 of those. Okay, start the feet with a magic loop or a magic circle. Chain 1 to lock, and then put 6 single crochets into the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull that up, pull the tail in. I honestly have no idea why I cannot do this on camera, because I can do the rest of it. There you go. Pull it through. I have not been having trouble. I think it just might be the angle, because I'm looking through a monitor as I'm teaching you today. So I'm just going to weave that in. Okay. Trim. Put in a stitch marker at the last one. Okay, and pull everything back in and ready for round number 2. Round number 2, we're just going to go around putting 2 single crochets in each. If you're not sure, just count it back to the 6 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2 into each. So 1 and 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and last one is 6 and 6. Move that stitch marker up. We'll be ready for round number 3. Round number 3 is another increase. So the first one out is going to have 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 into the one after that. So 2 into the same one. So okay, so the repeat is just 1 into the next and 2 into the one after that. 1 into the next and 2 into the one after that. 1. You're probably unaware I probably have to have surgery on my wrists and my arm, or my wrists for carpal tunnel. So I'm struggling a little bit. So 1 and 2, and then 1, and then 2 into the next. We still have 1 more round to go. So just move that stitch marker up. And let's do the 4th and final round. 4th and final round is 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. I'll show you how to finish, and then we have to fold and sew the feet into a shape, and then we can attach it to our character after that. So 1 into each all the way around. As I come into the last one, I'm just going to slip stitch into the next one and then call it quits there. Create an extra long tail. You'll be using this not only to close the foot down, but also to sew it to the character. Take your stitch marker out. You will notice in the pattern that it says to fold in half, and then it says to stitch lines. And the stitch lines are going to be, you can see it here, the stitch lines are going to be creating a foot shape. Simply right where this is coming out of, let's put this into a tapestry needle. And when I fold it, okay, I'm going to fold it so that the right side is facing out, which is this. And I'm just going to use the back loops only on both sides. So I'm going to grab the first one, and then I'm going to grab the next back loop. And now what I'm going to do is underneath, I'm just going to go a little bit halfway back. So it comes out here. And I'm going to wrap it around into that same position so it just circles. And when I do it, I want to pull on it and it will pull it in. And then I'm going to come back up and then continue to move across. Okay, so it gives it a kind of a foot shape there. So I want to do it pretty much in the same position over here. I noticed a trick when I did these before for the people that had baby showers is that it's so important that you position these guys properly onto it because so the doll will sit up on its own. So once you get this one in, we're going to go halfway back. Okay, and then circle around and pull on it so it creates that shape, and then continue to then sew the remaining shut. So then I want to keep this strand going, but it's in the wrong position. So I'm just going to stick it into the stitch work and come out somewhere over here and leave it hold. And so therefore when I have them both in position, then they're ready to sew right to the character. Okay, so you'll be ready to go, and we're going to be moving on to that section next. So what I'm going to do now is to sew on the eyes into position first, and those are really critical, and then we're going to put the beak on. Then after that, we're then going to sew these particular feet on. You notice where the feet are? The feet are in front, so the base of it is actually sitting on the table. So if these are too far underneath, this thing will not stand on its own. So you want to make sure that these act like a counterbalance like that. Now the wings are facing straight on down. You can just position your wings to have an expression if you want to. I had one so it's kind of like holding in front like that, and the other one was down. It was kind of just very welcoming in that way. So let's begin to put our item together. So now what I would do is you start positioning things to where you think it should go. And what you can do is just use some pins, like sewing pins, and just stick it in and position. You can take those out later, obviously. And then you can see how it's going to look. So use your pins, position things that you want, because now it's the time to move anything. So I'm going to pin on my items, and you can put things really kind of cool. So make sure the one eye is at least positioned where you want it to go. So what I'm going to do, because I have the strand coming here, I'm going to link it to the next eye to hold that together. So there will not be a space between the eyes. If you don't like that, then don't do that. Okay, so I'm just going to go and link. And then I'm just going to take that strand going in, and I am going to stay within the white of the eye, and I'm just going to capture a piece of the main character into it. And I'm going to have to do the same with both eyes. So if you jump too far, a child might be able to rip these off if they have enough strength. So you just want to be really careful and think about who's going to get your character at the end. Now, if you want to shape the eye and change the shape, you can just kind of push it together and give it kind of an oval shape eye as well. That's kind of fun, and you can determine that as well. So it's very flexible, and to be able to make your little owl wishes come true. When I joined it, I did not actually go into the main character itself. So I want to be very careful to make sure I do join it into the main character. Like that. Okay, so we're now going to just weave this in. So going through a different spot. Try not to interfere with the exterior of there. Just try to stay within the eye itself. And how many times are you going to go back and forth? Yeah, that's right. It's going to be 3 times. This table angle is really hard for me to be able to do this, but we'll figure it out, right? So now that the one eye is permanently into position, I can just safely trim it. And now I'm going to sew on my other eye. I can take out my holding point, and I'm going to do the other eye, make it look like the same shape so that I have my eyes into position like that. So I'll do that off camera and I'll be right back. So I'm now going to place the beak. The beak goes straight on down, but if you would like to give it an expression, just turn it a little sideways as well. You can do that, you know, no big deal. And I think I might do that actually. And just kind of pin it, hold it, and then sew it into position at that point. So I intentionally put my beak on an angle, just because that's part of expression. If there's any spaces in between things, you can just grab yarn and just kind of put things together as well, if that bothers you. So the feet are the most critical, so you need to sit it flat and figure out where the feet are going to sit. So you need to have it come down, and so the feet then become the balance point of this thing. And the feet are a little bit open like that. So you're going to want to just position it and then pin it and then sew that into position next. So now I have my feet on. I actually stood up from my desk and I positioned my own body to see what it would look like if I was in a falling formation. So what I did is that I pinned the one guy on. This one is just slightly up, so it looks like he's about to fall over. And because what I want to do is position his arms in a way that it looks like that he's about to topple. And so one arm may be up and the other arm may be down, like that. So you can have a lot of fun with positioning and just look in the mirror or just look at your own body to see how you're going to position it if you want to give this thing more expression. So once you have this all done, just pin it to the character and sew. So my ollie is done. I've got my wings positioned up instead of down. I got it positioned so he looks like from the front, he looks like he's about to fall over, which is giving a reaction, and he's going, whoa. Now with the blue feet, I almost think I created a blue-footed booby, but who knows, right? So it's kind of fun, and it's all about positioning and making it really fun. So if you want things in a certain way, you can just take the yarn and just kind of sew things down. If you want it to hold itself, you can do a lot of cool things. This is it for today, and let me know how you did in the comments below. We'll see you. Bye-bye.